Welcome to the Reduce on Purpose podcast, where we experience life being the real you. I'm your host, Randy Adkins Jr., and today we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Betsy Pepine, and she's a serial entrepreneur in real estate. Her brokerage, Pepine Realty, has been named in Inc. 5,000 fastest growing private companies in the USA multiple times and has earned spots on the top 50 Florida companies to watch in Florida Trend Best Companies to Work For list. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal has consistently recognized Betsy's real estate team as one of the top producing real estate companies in the United States. Betsy also owns a title company, real estate school, and property management brokerage. Betsy is endorsed by her mentor, real estate mogul and Shark Tank shark Barbara Cochran, as well as leading media personalities Dave Ramsey and Glenn Beck. Betsy, welcome to the Produce on Purpose podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Randy. Thank you.
So it is wonderful to have you on, and usually would like to start off by just sharing with our audience your journey to where you are at this moment, and also about how you feel and what you think you're going to be sharing with our group today.
So I'm in real estate, as you mentioned. It took me a while to get there. I'm one of those late bloomers, and real estate was a second career for me. Started out after graduate school. I went into the pharmaceutical industry. My family has a very strong medical background, and there was expectations of my sisters and I all to be physicians. And after my father and my two sisters did go to medical school, and they are physicians, and their husbands are physicians, and I was considered perhaps the black sheep of the family and did not want to go that route, but still felt a need to placate that desire of my family. So I stayed in the pharmaceutical realm, trying to balance my desire to be more in marketing and entrepreneurship. So I did that for almost a decade, and then found myself downsized and suddenly single with the 1 and 2 year old, and moved back home and kind of rebuilt my life from the ground up. And when I did that, I thought, what better time to do what I'm truly interested in and passionate about and try it. And so I tried real estate, gave myself 2 years, and had a plan B if it didn't work out. But have really enjoyed the career and the industry so much more than I even thought I would. So 19 years later, I'm still in it, and I truly don't feel like I work. So I feel very blessed in that space.
So as a serial entrepreneur, and I would love to understand the ups and downs, what actually helps to continue to provide you with the motivation to keep going? What has been some of those prime pieces of your life that says, hey, Betsy, this is what keeps me going awake, that every morning I get up, I want to do this?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, so I get bored very easily. And so I constantly have to be doing something new. When people ask me who I am a seeker, a wanderer, constantly curious about things. So that's how God made me. And so I constantly am looking for new opportunities, new ways of thinking, new people, new situations. I am most comfortable outside my comfort zone. And so I purposely seek out those opportunities. So it's not something that I have to really, I don't have tactics to get me ready. That's just how I am. The way I stay content, because the flip side of that is I get bored, very easily. And so, I just tend to start a little business and look for things. So like when I started I was in real estate, I was an agent, and I soon wanted to do more than just being an agent. So then I became a broker, when I got my broker license, it was really just to be a broker and to be out on my own. I had an independent streak about me and really wanted to be able to sail my own ship. Didn't even think I would be growing anything, but after a year, I got bored of just being a broker, a solo entrepreneur. And so then started hiring agents and staff and built that, and then got tired of just doing that. And so I thought, well, how can I serve our customers and our agents in a way, staying in the space, but branching out a bit? And so I opened up a mortgage company, and then later I opened up a title company, and I opened up a property management company. And then I opened up a real estate school as a funnel to get agents to our brokerage. So I'm just constantly looking for ways, how can I add value to either our customers or our agents? And also nurturing that aspect of myself that needs to constantly grow and learn.
Interesting, Sue. And at one point, my wife and I, we were in real estate. We were agents. We were also investors for a while. And, you know, having the entrepreneurial spirit or whatever you're trying to do and accomplish, can you give an idea of a particular time or place where you were going down that path and you had, so you said you've opened up multiple things. What do you feel is the typical thing that most entrepreneurs run into that they have to overcome in order to continue to have a viable business, continue to reach those customers and clients that are out there?
Okay, so for me, you can't take anything personally. Which I had to
Okay.
learn. I mean, the first year in real estate, I was truly a basket case because I wasn't used to rejection. Coming from the corporate world, I was kind of insulated and protected. Um, but here I am dealing directly with the consumer, and you get a lot of rejection, and you get a lot of rejection from people that you would never expect to get rejection from. And so that was hard. That was very difficult for me, but I just knew if I wanted to make it in this industry, I couldn't take things personally. And so I think as entrepreneurs, we truly are probably rejected the most because we're willing to take the most risks, but we don't let that stop us. And so for me, I don't take it personally. I'm a very visual person. I envision I have a shield around me, and I don't let other people's opinions of me and their desire to use our services or not impact this protection that I have around me. At the same time, anybody that wants to give me feedback, I'm very like I'm a sponge. And so I want feedback because I know if I don't get feedback, I don't learn and grow. So I'm very open when somebody doesn't choose to use us or our services, or if an agent chooses to leave, I'm the first one to say, let me have an exit interview. What can I learn from this experience so that I don't find myself in this situation again? Maybe in another situation, but my goal is never to be, if I'm in an uncomfortable situation or a situation that I don't like, how do I prevent that in the future? And so I have to learn from that experience. So I look at things in that frame of light, and I think that helps entrepreneurs if they feel this way. And I think a lot of them do, because I'm in masterminds with a lot of different entrepreneurs, and we don't view there's no such thing as failure in our minds, because that prevents, if you have a fear of failure, you probably aren't going to take as many risks. But if you don't have a fear of failure, you're willing to take calculated risks. And for me, I just don't believe failure exists. It's a mental construct that we humans create. You don't see any animal species have this fear of failure. And so for me, worst case scenario, it's not the outcome I desired. Okay, that's not failure. It's just not what I expected or not what I desired. It's a pivot, but worst case, it's a learning. So there's really nothing to lose. Either I'm going to get the outcome I want, or I don't get the outcome I want, but I have a wonderful learning that will help me in the future. So that helps me take risks that I think maybe other people stop and maybe don't realize some of their goals and ambitions because of that.
So you talk about metaphorical boxes.
Mhm.
So what was that moment? And you talked about pivoting.
Mhm.
What was that pivotal moment in your life where you, first of all, tell us what a metaphorical box is to you, and what was that pivotal moment to break out of that metaphorical box?
Um, so that's in my book. So the book, I wrote a book called Breaking Boxes, Dismantling the Metaphorical Boxes That Bind Us. And um, uh, for me, so I'm 56, and several years ago, I was discontent with my life, and I was frustrated that I was discontent and wouldn't even admit it to myself for some time. Because I didn't feel like I had the right to be discontent. I had a lot of blessings in my life, and I know that. And so I felt that it was just almost selfish of me to feel that I wasn't happy. So, so that it took me a while to just even accept that and admit it to myself. And then the 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 journey to start that pivotal moment was when I was scrolling through the internet during that time of discontentment, and I saw this picture. Um, I came across a picture of this girl, and she's about 4 years old in a red one-piece bathing suit on a lush green grass lawn, arms and legs splayed out as wide as can be. Her face is pure unbridled joy, and across her body there's the text, "Remember her. She's still there inside you,
Mm-hmm.
waiting. Let's go get her." And this picture spoke to me. And of course, I actually had it printed on canvas. It's my screensaver on my computer and on my phone. I have it hanging up in my office, at home, and at work. And something about that, I wanted that feeling. And a little while later, I'm in Florida, and we were hunkering down for a hurricane. We have hurricanes that come through every fall. And I always have a project for hurricane season. And this particular hurricane that came through a couple of years ago, I decided I was going to put all of my photos that I had just stuffed in a box, several boxes, into photo albums. And sure enough, after a couple hours after the storm hit, the power goes out. It's dark. I light my candles. I get out my photo boxes, and I start putting the photos in my photo albums. When I'm done, I take the photo boxes to the trash, and I put them in the trash can. And I notice that on the bottom of the last box, there's a photo turned upside down, but I can't see what it is. So I pull the photo out and take it to the candle. And it was like a bolt of lightning went through me, not from the storm outside. I ran down the hall with the candle and the photo in my hand, ran into my office, and put that photo next to this picture of this girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked back down at that photo, and it's a faded photo of a girl in her favorite red striped one-piece bathing suit. She's jumping over a wave in the Atlantic Ocean, and she's got this smile of pure unbridled joy. She's looking up at her father, who's standing a few feet in front of her, taking her photo. And I look back at the photo on the wall that says, "She's still there inside you, waiting. Let's go get her." And this was a photo, and the bottom of the photo of the one I'm holding is my mom's faded handwriting that says Betsy H4. And it was just an awakening that I was this girl at one time, and somehow I lost my way.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started exploring why that was through meditation, prayer, journaling, therapy, yoga, a whole bunch of different modalities, the common thread was these boxes that I felt confined in. And they're not physical boxes that I see every day as a realtor, but these abstract boxes, these boxes that our family of origin puts us in, our race puts us in, our gender, our industry, our culture, our friends. These boxes are everywhere, and some are obvious and some are not so obvious. They're not all bad, and some serve us at some periods of our life. Some never serve us, and we don't realize that. I
Mm-hmm.
overstayed my welcome in some boxes, and I've learned that the hard way. So it was just this journey of going through my life and recognizing these periods and these situations where I felt so confined. I compare it to I like you, I invest in property, and I have some Airbnbs, and I ordered a mattress online once from Amazon, and it arrived in a box like this big, and it's a king size mattress. And you open the box, and it slowly expands to the size it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I felt like I was that mattress compressed in that box, and
Mm.
I had to get out. And as I look back through my life, there were little he, peaks of it. Like you could see me trying to get out and trying to make my way. But the last several years, I've really made a conscious effort. I'm so much more aware of when I'm in a box, when it's feeling confining, and how do I exit gracefully, to make myself feel whole again and be authentic.
And those boxes obviously did not serve you and I guess allow for you to express who you truly are. Because, of course, one of my focuses is making sure we understand authentically who we are, understand how we can produce in this world on purpose and live this life in the greatest way. You had mentioned when we were talking before was you felt like you were in Groundhog Day or the Truman Show.
Yeah.
And how did that kind of help you have the right perspective of getting beyond those boxes that you found that were there? Or was that a good way for you to identify those boxes?
Oh no, it was a great way. I mean, the Truman Show is just so classic. I've watched it several times after this revelation, and um, Truman, he's all of us. He's in his 30s. He's living this quintessential life. Everything seems so perfect, yet he starts to feel something's off and something's not quite right. And then he tries to go to Fiji. He thinks going to Fiji is going to solve this problem. And then you see he goes to the travel agency and there's posters. There's a picture of an airplane and a lightning bolt going through the airplane. And that's the fear. People, society, they try to invoke fear when we try to move outside a box, because when we move it's like a chess game. When we move our piece, the whole game changes for all the pieces on the table. And humans by nature don't really embrace change. And so when you make a change, that makes other people uncomfortable. So they want to, it's a lot of people just want to keep you where you are, even though it could be better for you moving. There's a tendency for people to want consistency and sameness. So it's just seeing that and recognizing that I don't want to be Truman. And at the end of Truman, it's so interesting. They have the logo of when Truman leaves the set. He walks off the set. Have you seen the movie?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He walks off the set and you see him just so, this pure unbridled joy. And then you see a picture of the Truman Show logo, and there's a picture of the earth spinning. And it's symbolizing that this is not just on the Truman Show. We are all living in a contrived set, being orchestrated by others. And to what extent are we going to allow that and the conditioning that we've been given since birth, sadly, even before birth? I really have very strong opinions about these gender reveals that we see now. That was not popular when I had children, but it's like the fact that we're celebrating that they are going to be a certain gender suggests that we have in our minds what that means for that child. And so we're already putting them in a box before they're even born. They've done studies where they ask newborn parents and people in the maternity room when they're giving birth to describe the child that was just born. And there's stark contrast between the adjectives that give males and the adjectives that give females. They don't know this child from Adam. This child is not even 5 minutes old, yet they're already giving qualities to this child and not even knowing it. They only know what the gender is. So, it just starts at a very young age, and unless you're aware, you're living under the set of what Truman lived in.
Yeah, we could definitely be living unconsciously along someone else's narrative or story or box, as you've decided to call it. And all boxes, whenever I mail a box, it always has a label on it. And I truly believe that sometimes we are labeling our boxes, and it tries to shortcut the way that we see life. So our brain wants to do that as quickly as possible to help us along the way. And it tries to do these shortcuts by doing all of these labels, but it is imperative that we understand that we should have an idea and a concept of our lives that is uniquely us, and it really comes back to us. So as you're thinking about breaking these boxes, and so you identify and you have these boxes that apply to you, how has your real estate work or entrepreneurship work helped to start to kind of break through maybe some of the boxes that you may have seen in maybe in real estate, maybe in business? What are some of those boxes that you've seen to
So,
identify and break through?
yeah, I mean, for me, the first one was really even just going into real estate for me and my family. Like that was not, I felt so much pressure to be a physician. And it really affected my sense of worth that I wasn't one. I didn't want to be one. I felt like something was wrong with me. Um, that was just considered from the time I was little. That was the profession that was the most esteemed. That's the one you want to go after. The messaging was, if you're not a physician, you couldn't be one. It wasn't that you didn't want to be one, but that you couldn't be one. Or, intellectually, you just couldn't make it. There,
Did that come from your family?
it came from my family, and they
Okay.
they wanted what was best for me. They did.
Right.
And they, you know, their families came over through Ellis Island. They had hardships, and so they saw that as the ticket to the golden ticket, and they
Right.
wanted that for everybody. And they made it financially possible for my sisters and I to do that without any debt. So they set it up, but it was very difficult for me to say no, thank you. And I still feel like that I'm the black sheep. When I finally decided to go into real estate and leave the whole healthcare arena, I was 37, and my parents, I remember my mother patting me on the back and said, "Betsy, you go ahead and do what you want to do. Just know that you can't be our realtor." And I was like, I had grown up in this town. I was like very hurt by that. That was before I got my shield when I got the real estate. And I was really hurt. And I was like, but why? And she's like, well, you remember, so and so, they helped us buy this house. And I said, yeah, I remember her, but Mom, that was 40 years ago. And she said, yes, but every year she sends us a Whitman's box of chocolates for Christmas. So I couldn't possibly use anybody else. And, for the first split second, I was so offended, hurt, whatever the word is. But I quickly pivoted and I said to myself, my gosh, if that's all it takes to have a loyal customer for life, it's a box of chocolate every Christmas, I'm going to do really well in real estate. So that was
That's
the first.
that's some awesome touches there. We know how in real estate, if you have enough touches, that it
Yeah,
will continue to have people have you at the top of their mind, and that's crazy that from that many years with just a box of chocolate.
right. It was crazy. So that was one. And then when I got into real estate, you see a lot of boxes in real estate, sadly. We see boxes where um, people, so, and I'm not saying this, I think everyone knows, but so in our industry, there are some agents, they call it cherry picking. They cherry pick the leads that they accept or want to work with based on what they think the outcome of the sale is going to be, the sales price. I tell all my agents, we don't cherry pick. We give everyone the same service. Everyone deserves to have a realtor, be well represented. So, and that is how I believe my agents work. But there is people follow the money, and people want, if they're limited time and resources, they're going to want to service the clients that are buying the more expensive houses. So we had an agent, brand new agent, and I had given this message: don't ever cherry pick. And she went out, listed a piece of vacant land, because people judge you based on the way you appear, based on what you're selling for them. And this piece of vacant land in rural area, $45,000, probably will never sell. She took it. It goes under contract. I said, the only thing you need to do at the closing, just say, is there anything else you need to sell? She closes on the lot. At the end of the conversation, at the end of the closing, she turns to the lady and says, by the way, is there anything else you need to sell? And she said, yeah, I've got the little parcel behind the Hilton on 34th Street, big area in our town. We run the comps on it. It's a $6 million piece of vacant land. And she said, I'm giving this to you, even though you're a brand new agent, because you're the only one that would take my call. So, but people judged her because she had a $45,000 piece of vacant land in a rural area that probably wouldn't sell. So that happens sadly a lot. The other big one that I see a lot is a gender box. I personally have experienced it both sides. I mean, we get people who, it's interesting. We'll have customers call and say, I only want to work with either a male or a female. They have their views on what one will provide, what one gender doesn't provide. And it goes both ways, but they're very direct and specific about who they want to work with, which I don't like that. I don't tolerate that. But the other, and also in gender, personally, I've experienced it numerous times, but often, well, one example is one of the things I really wanted to do was be on a board. That was one of my goals, is to be on a bank board. And I remember a bank called me, asked me out to lunch, and the president came, and a gentleman, he was a gentleman, and he brought somebody who worked for him, another gentleman, and we had lunch together, and they talked to me about the board and what it would entail and what their goals were, etc. And at the end of the conversation, they asked if I would be interested in being a board member. And I was elated because this had been on my vision board for several years. And I said, absolutely, this so aligned with what I want to do. And the president looks to his coworker and says, thank God we have and then he turns to me and said, we have a board full of middle-aged men and we need diversity. And I understand. I mean, it's a seesaw. It's like, how do you get representation without having diversity? But the message that I received was I was only invited because I provided diversity. It wasn't because of everything I had done in the community and what my businesses had done for the community. It was because I was born a female. And and I remember thinking to myself, sitting at that booth, do I say no? Because I really was tempted just to say, I'm done. I'm not interested. But then I said, could I be an example for other women? I have 2 daughters. For other women and my daughters, if they see a picture of the board and they see me and they see the impact I can make on a board. So I did accept the position, and I'm still on that board. But that was very difficult. And, we're working on the way we message things because I think that's been a different message.
And that's interesting because, sometimes people may have boxes, but that doesn't mean that we may fit in those boxes. And so sounds like in that situation where maybe their minds were a particular idea of what they were going to get. However, when it came down to it, when you actually begin to interact and be a part, you may not fit within the particular box, and you actually get to change the idea or break the box in their particular minds. And that just goes to show that regardless of the boxes that someone may try to impose upon us or project on us, it doesn't mean that we have to remain confined. I like your analogy of the mattress when you get it from Amazon, because I just did that move with my daughter and she had one. And it's like, how did they fit this mattress in here? And then when it blows up, you're like, wow, this is the true nature of what it is. Right. And I believe that when we are in this world, we're interacting with others. Even if someone tries to put you in the box, you can be that mattress. You can expand. You can be everything. You can fill the room. You don't have to fit within that box. So thank you for sharing that, because I do believe that sometimes, our perspective, and I think the question we can always ask, no matter what situation we're in, is, can this be looked at a different way? And I think it is a freeing situation for all of us. When any situation we're in, can it be looked at it another way? That means that the way that you're looking at it is not absolute truth. No, the way that someone else is looking at it is not absolute truth. So
Yeah.
if it can be looked at another way,
Right.
then that means that there could be potentially another way, another perspective, another freeing moment that's there.
Mhm.
I love it. It's so the how do you balance this, entrepreneurial success and your mission to improve lives? So I know you have Pepine Gives. Tell
Mhm.
a little bit about that and how you've been interacting and helping others discover their purpose.
Yeah. So that idea started when I was actually in grad school. I was in Philadelphia, and one of the classes, oddly, was we could go into West Philadelphia and gut row homes and with donated supplies and labor, rebuild them, and then interview at-risk families and quote unquote sell these homes to a family at risk. And to see how housing could change the trajectory of family was imprinted on me a feeling that I never felt before. And so when I got into real estate, once I was established, I wanted to give back. And so we started doing a lot of service in the community, but it was kind of random. It was all over the place. And it was great, but we were volunteering, in one place, we were giving money here, doing all these different things. But I'm like, the whole point for me to do service is to have an impact. And so we actually changed one of our core values from service to impact and really focused our giving back efforts in time and money to a group of people who probably would never use a realtor and never use our services. And so that was addressing the issue of affordable housing. And so we started a partnership with Habitat for Humanity, and we fundraised through a variety of different events every year. And then we sponsor houses for them. We work alongside the families. Habitat goes along with my belief. It's a hand up, not a handout.
Mhm.
It really teaches the applicants, the future homeowners, life skills. You have to take educational classes on how to manage your finances and then also how to maintain a home. So they really set you up for success. And then you have to work. The future homeowner has to put in 240 hours of work, of sweat equity into their home. And so they're very vested in the process. And there's a myth that we give these homes. We don't give these homes away. We have a bank appraise the home and we sell it to them at the appraisal price. Now, Habitat is phenomenal about knowing every single program that's available for, anything the applicant could be qualified for. They apply for those things and get that assistance, but they're paying the full market value with then having these programs that help with down payment assistance, low interest rate assistance, all these different types of things that they can qualify for, which anybody can qualify for, but Habitat has a way to centralize that. And then we get to see that and dedicate the house and move in. So that's just something that we started that in 2018, and it's just been really rewarding for me personally and for my agents and staff to see the impact that we're making in the community on a section of families that, some of them were living in their cars. And so just to be able to see them move into a home and they're families. So it's a lot of single parents with children. And it's what I was from my children 1 and 2 when I raised them as a single mom. So it really speaks to me and ties into what we do, on the day job. So it kind of just completes the circle for us.
I like the way that you said that, and just to go a little further, how do you feel that that type of service? And by the way, I love Habitat for Humanity. I've participated in some of the builds, and I've seen the process and how home ownership can change the trajectory of someone's life because now they are at a space where they own something and they have put in the sweat equity and they have vested interest in the ownership of what they have. So how do you feel that that service mentality has fit into your process? Now you figured out how to break boxes. You've put in the entrepreneurial piece. I do believe that service plays a huge role, and I know you say it's something that has provided you with some guidance. What else is there that service is given you and kind of provided you as for entrepreneurs that are out there? Why is that? Why do you feel that's important?
Oh my gosh, it is most important thing. I wake up every day and I say thank you. And then my second statement to myself is, how may I serve? I feel like if you come at it from that perspective, only good will come, right? Only good will come. I tell our agents when we have new agents, we are not, a lot of people think of real estate as a transactional business. We are not a transactional company. We are a relationship-based company. I tell people all the time, I could care less if you ever buy or sell a house from me. I really don't care. What I care about in my goal and my agent's goal is to establish trust with you so that if you're in a position to ever buy or sell, or somebody you know is in a position to buy or sell, you think of us. That's our only goal, is how do we establish trust? And if we do that, then everything else is fine. The income comes, the income flows, the customers flow. If your heart is in the right place, I always tell my agents, pretend like that person is your family, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, your grandfather. You're giving them the same advice that you would give your family member. And that keeps your integrity in check,
Yeah.
Integrity, you get it, you get presented with a lot of things in real estate that can make you want to veer to the gray. And, integrity is our first core value. And I always tell people, it doesn't matter. Like people, I feel like in real estate, what's black and white at $5 becomes gray at $100,000. Like when $5 is on the line, oh, it's black and white. I'll do the right thing. When $10,000 of your money out of your commission is on the line, yeah, people may not be so anxious to, or so willing to do the right thing because they know. But if it's not right to do it $5, it's not right to do it at $10,000. So you have to stay integrous. And so that ties into service too, I think. But those two things kind of guide my life.
Yeah, that's really cool. So we are coming to the end. It always goes so fast. And at this moment, what advice would you provide to our audience, something that they could implement in their lives? First of all, to break those boxes. Maybe they feel like they're stuck in boxes, or just in the entrepreneurial world, something that they could do that you feel, one or two items that they can implement today that will change their lives.
I think one is, if they're in their entrepreneurial space, it's very lonely. And I absolutely recommend you network and mastermind. Outside of your community, you get so much growth and insight when you join masterminds that are, national ones, and I recommend that. It's exponential what you'll learn and what you can contribute to help other people. So I would do that. I have done that for years. I wish I'd done that from day one. I did that probably in year 10 forward, but that to me is probably the most impactful thing in terms of mindset and vision and helping you see where you can go. And the other thing would be in terms of entrepreneurship, and not really to anybody, but just fear holds back a lot of people. And when you write it down, it becomes less scary. So I would encourage people when they're resisting something, it's usually because they're fearing something. So write down what that fear is and then question it. If you want to make a jump, but you fear that you're going to lose social status, right? Which honestly I did when I decided to be a realtor, because coming from the expectation that I was going to be a physician and all the education that required, to then going into being a realtor that requires a GED and passing a state exam, I did feel like, was I taking a step down from what my potential could be? But when I feel that way, if it's a fear of status change, I'm like, Betsy, that's your ego talking. Put your ego on the shelf and move forward. And so that's what I do when I recognize it's a status thing. If it's a fear of losing social connections, which you will, when you move outside a box, you're going to ruffle some feathers, and you probably will. Your social circles may change, but shore those up. Look for new people that are aligned with where you're going and not where you've been. If it's a fear of financial security, build a nest egg. Have a plan B. Get a side gig. once you write it down, the solutions become more evident. But when you keep it up in your mind, it becomes, to me, bigger and scarier than it really is.
The big scary thing that's in your mind, just write it down, and then you can kind of break free from it and not be in that box anymore. Betsy, thank you so much for sharing this great information with us today. How can my audience find you?
Sure. I'm on all the social platforms at Betsy Pepine, which is just my name. And then my website is betsypepine.com. And you can email me at betsy@betsypepine.com and get on my free newsletter.
Well, Betsy, thank you again. And I have taken away some great nuggets of being able to, number one, break free from these boxes that sometimes can be imposed by those that have been around us. It could be imposed by our environment, it can be imposed by society, whatever those boxes are. However, it seems like there are ways that we can break free. We can live the life that we need to be. We can be authentic to ourselves and also have a drive to be an entrepreneur and be able to share and serve in this world and provide what we can. My encouragement to everyone is to listen to this episode. Definitely take away all of the nuggets that have been shared and passed along. But most of all, that we continue as we are being authentic to ourselves, being the real you, being who we are supposed to be, and not in any box that we are going to break free. And most of all, we're going to produce on purpose.